On the night of September 28, 2008, one company was hours from dying. 3 rockets had already exploded. There was money left for exactly one more launch. If it failed, SpaceX would be gone by morning. 6 years earlier, Elon Musk had done something everyone called insane. He took the fortune he made from PayPal and poured it into building rockets from scratch. By 2008, that fortune was almost gone. The rocket was called Falcon 1, small, thin, barely the height of a 5-story building. Flight 1 failed, Flight 2 failed, Flight 3 failed. Each explosion burned away millions they could never get back. The team scraped together a 4th rocket in just 6 weeks. It was the last one they could afford. No 5th chance, no backup plan. Everything the company had ever done came down to this single launch. 9 minutes after liftoff, Falcon 1 reached orbit, the first privately built rocket in history to ever do it. SpaceX didn't just survive that night. It was about to rewrite who controls space. That success came just in time. Weeks later, NASA made a phone call that changed everything. A contract worth $1.6 billion to fly cargo to the International Space Station. For a company that had been counting its final dollars, it was oxygen. It meant SpaceX could stop just surviving and start building the rocket that would make it famous. That rocket was Falcon 9, 9 engines instead of 1. Powerful enough to carry real payloads and cargo capsules called Dragon all the way to orbit and back. But Musk wanted something no one had ever pulled off. He didn't just want to reach space, he wanted the rocket to come home. For 60 years, every rocket humanity built was thrown away after a single flight. Imagine flying a jet across the ocean, then scrapping it the moment it lands. Imagine that was spaceflight. The first stage of a rocket is roughly 60% of its cost. Every launch meant dropping tens of millions of dollars straight into the sea. Musk asked one stupid, obvious question that every expert called impossible. What if the rocket just came back and landed itself? The early tries were brutal. Boosters slammed into drone ships and exploded. They tipped over, ran out of fuel, missed the pad. The internet laughed. Then, in December 2015, a Falcon 9 booster fell back through the sky, relit its engines, and touched down upright on solid ground, intact. It wasn't a fluke. They did it again and again. Today, SpaceX has landed its boosters more than 630 times in 645 attempts. One single booster, tail number B1067, has flown to the edge of space and landed itself 35 separate times. A machine everyone said should be used once. Reusing rockets did something no one fully expected. It made launching so cheap and so fast that SpaceX could do it over and over and over. In 2025 alone, they flew 165 Falcon 9 missions. That's a rocket launch roughly every 2 days for an entire year. Compare the cost. NASA's space shuttle paid around $54,000 to lift a single kilogram to orbit. Falcon 9 does it for under $2,800. That cheap, constant access to space unlocked something enormous. A plan to wrap the entire planet in internet from above. Starlink. By mid-2026, there are more than 10,000 Starlink satellites circling the Earth. Look up tonight, and roughly 2 out of every 3 working satellites over your head belong to one company. More than 12 million people now get their internet straight from space across 160 countries. Dead zones, remote villages, ships in the middle of the ocean. Suddenly online. The company that was nearly bankrupt in 2008 now launches more rockets than the rest of the planet combined. But Musk was still chasing a far bigger machine. Falcon 9 lands on legs, but the next rocket was too big, too heavy for legs. So SpaceX tried something that sounds like pure science fiction. They built a launch tower over 400 feet tall with 2 massive steel arms. The plan? Catch a returning rocket booster out of the open sky. On October 13, 2024, a super heavy booster the size of a 20-story building fell back toward the tower at hundreds of miles an hour. The arms closed, and they caught it on the very first attempt. Engineers screamed. It looked faked. It wasn't. But here's the part the hype videos skip. That catch is still not routine. On Flight 12, the booster couldn't relight all its engines, and the catch failed. This is bleeding edge, and it still bites back. That booster belongs to Starship, the largest, most powerful rocket ever built, and the entire reason that tower exists. On May 22, 2026, a brand new version, Starship V3, flew for the first time, taller than before, carrying a radically upgraded engine called Raptor 3. And Raptor 3 is a genuine shock. It makes about 50% more thrust than the original Raptor, yet it's lighter, and it costs 4 times less to build. How? By deleting parts. All the plumbing was moved inside the engine, so it needs no external heat shield at all. It got better by getting simpler. On that flight, the ship reached space, deployed its first satellites, then came screaming back into the atmosphere at 17,500 miles an hour, wrapped in plasma hot enough to melt steel. And it survived. The ship came home with the data SpaceX needed. Version 3 is built to carry over 100 tons to orbit, on its way to 200, nearly 3 times what came before. Because all of this, the landings, the catches, the thousands of satellites, was never really about Earth. When Starship is fully reusable, SpaceX believes one launch could cost as little as a few $1,000,000 while lifting 200 tons. That would crush the price of orbit toward tens of dollars a kilogram. At that price, the impossible becomes a schedule. Fuel depots in orbit, ships refueling in space, and a destination Musk has been obsessed with since day one, Mars. The plan was audacious. Send 5 uncrewed starships toward Mars in the late 2026 window, carrying Tesla's Optimus robots to prepare the ground for humans. But in February 2026, Musk did something rare. He was honest about the delay. The moon comes first, and Mars slipped a few years. One piece of tech still isn't proven, transferring fuel between 2 ships in orbit. Crack that, and everything opens. From one rocket and one last chance in 2008 to catching skyscrapers and reaching for another planet. The real question isn't if humans reach Mars anymore. It's who's flying you there. Subscribe to Ascent and stay for the next chapter.